بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. المرحلة الثانية ELT أستاذ محمد حسين البدري. Today we have chapter number 4. Okay, I'm going to talk about chapter number 4. The title of this chapter is Teaching Language and Communication Among People. There are some questions here. Here we have some questions that will be explained in details in this chapter, right? Starting from this question, what is the main goal of a communicative classroom? How do EFL, ESL teachers provide opportunities for students to communicate in English? What makes a classroom communicative? So we will talk about the first two, okay, and next lectures we'll talk about what? About the rest of the questions. The first question, which is very important. What is the main goal of a communicative classroom? What is the main goal? Okay, what is the main goal of a communicative classroom? The primary goal, the main goal of communicative classroom is student development of communicative competence. Okay, is what? Student development of communicative competence in English. The student should have communicative competence, communicative knowledge in English. Okay, this is a very important term. You can check it and read more about it, and you will see. So the main goal is what? To develop, to enhance, okay, communicative competence in English. Students' communicative competence. At a basic level, this includes what? Development of students' ability to comprehend, to understand, and produce written and spoken English in communicatively proficient and accurate ways. This is very important. This is the goal of communicative classroom. The students should have what? Communicative competence. They should be what? Able to speak and to write well. This is the main idea. The students should be able to communicate well without making many mistakes in speaking or in writing. We will see this. We will talk about communicative competence in some details. Influenced by thinking of Del Hymns. This hymns, okay? Yes, hymns, Michael Cannell and Maren Swain, and especially Sandra Saviganan. Communicative competence has 4 interrelated components. 4. And then not only communicative competence is not enough. Competence is not enough. So we have other 4 interrelated competence. They are very important here. Grammatical, number 1, grammatical, discourse, sociocultural, and strategic competency. You see here? So grammatical competence, discourse competence, sociocultural competence, strategic competency. These 4. We will talk about them in some detail. To have grammatical competency, what do we mean when someone or students say, what do we mean by grammatical competency? How can I have grammatical competency in order to be able to speak English? How? What is a grammatical competency? It's very clear from the word grammatical. It means what? To be able to recognize sentence level grammatical forms. For example, lexical items, vocabularies, words, morphological items. Okay, morphology. You have studied. Now you are studying morphology. So, like for example, affixes, suffixes, bound morpheme, free morpheme. You have to be aware of these things. Okay. Syntactic features, word order. You have to know how the sentence is arranged. The organization of a sentence: subject, verb, object, subject, verb, complement. You see here? This is what we mean by syntactic features, word order. And phonological features. You know phonological features, and now we are studying phonology, and last year you have studied phonetics. So you know about consonant, vowels, intonation, stress. Okay, so this is what we mean by grammatical competency, right? I hope it's clear. Communicative competence. Number 2, communicative competence. It includes what? 2, discourse competency. Okay, so it also includes discourse competency, or the ability to interconnect a series of utterances, written or spoken, to form a meaningful text. You see here? This is what we mean by discourse competency. Letters, for example, here you have to have an ability to what? To write or to speak. To write a letter, to write an email, essay, telephone conversation, formal speech, or joke. This includes being able to use both top-down, and you have to know here, top-down and bottom-up. Top-down and bottom-up. What do they mean? Top-down and bottom-up. It means top-down here, knowledge based on experience and context. Okay? And bottom-up, knowledge of grammatical forms. Knowledge of what? Grammatical forms. Here, the writer told us about examination of this in chapter in part 3. Yes. According to Sandra Savignan, discourse competency include what? What else? Also includes text coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion. Okay? Please read these two terms. Okay? Coherence and cohesion. What is coherence? Sorry. What is coherence? What is cohesion? We will see simple definitions for them. She defines coherence as the relation of all sentences. This is coherence. The relation of all sentences or utterances in a single text to a single global proposition or topic. You see here, this is what? This is coherence. While coherence establishes a global meaning or topic, cohesion provides the smaller structural links between individual sentences, such as in the use of first, second, next, and after this. So this is the difference between coherence and cohesion. Coherence is what? There should be coherence. For example, if someone is writing about a topic, writing 4 paragraphs. Okay? These 4 paragraphs, the first paragraph, the second paragraph, the third paragraph, and the fourth paragraph should be related to each other. Okay? There should be what? A relationship, connection between each one of them. And then to the topic, to the title. Okay? This is wrong sometimes when some people write something. First paragraph is different from the second, and the second is different from the third, and the third from fourth, and the fourth is different from the first. This is wrong. You have to write what? To write all the paragraphs on the same topic. There should be coherence. This is what we mean by coherence. They all, here, coherence, relation of all sentences, all utterances, even the sentences inside the paragraph. They should be what? Related to each other in a single text to a single global topic. Okay? Cohesion provides the smallest structural links between individual sentences. There should be links. For example, when we say Tom is a teacher, full stop. He refers to whom? To Tom. So this is what? This is cohesion inside paragraph, between sentences. To use, for example, first, the second sentence, of course, you say what? Second, next, after that. This is cohesion. You can read more and more about it if you want to understand. Yes. The third component of communicative competence is socio-cultural competency. Socio-cultural. So it is from its name that it is culture, which is the ability to use English in social contexts in culturally appropriate ways. And in chapter 7, if we study chapter 7, I don't know, we have culture and the teacher English. This is very important. You know, when we want to study, in general, when we want to study any foreign language, we need to know what? We need to know about culture. Culture is important as far as language is concerned. So we need to know about culture. We need to know more and more about culture. We need not only about our culture. You know, for example, we as Arabic speakers, as Iraqis, our culture is different from, for example, American, British, or even Japanese, Chinese, all the world. Each country, each group of people has their own customs, beliefs, and norms. Okay, even their culture. You see here. So culture is very important when we study or when we want to learn a language. Words are not enough to know more and more about language. Words will not make us sound like English native speakers. Rather, we need what? We need to know about culture. Okay, how to behave. Of course, when I'm talking about culture here, as far as language is concerned, we need to know, for example, about their proverbs, idioms, يعني امثال, مصطلحات, about jokes, نكات, for example, compliments, مجاملة مالتهم, how they behave, okay, customs, norms مالتهم, is this acceptable or not acceptable? All these details are what are important to know when we want to study or when we want to learn language. This is chapter 7 in details. So the importance of being able to adjust to the way people in different cultures and subcultures interact is discussed. This is in chapter 7. When do people, for example, compliment each other? Compliment. When do people compliment? Compliment يعني جامل مو تكملة معناته شلون واحد يمتى يجاملون. When do people compliment each other? When? Okay. When? Which situation? Any situation? When? The time. You have to choose the time. How often? What kinds of things do they compliment? What kind of verbal and non-verbal behaviors do they use? Maybe, for example, Iraqis use gesture, which is acceptable. But when you visit or when you go to American, you use gesture, which is not acceptable. Okay? Maybe when you use a word in Iraq or something in Iraq is not acceptable. You go somewhere it is acceptable. That's why this is what we call it in English gap between cultures or cultural gaps. Cultural gaps. فجوات. Okay? Cultural gaps. Here we have gaps between cultures. So we have to be aware of the cultures. The same kinds of questions can be asked about other functions of language, such as when apologizing, complaining, interrupting, when to interrupt, asking for permission, requesting, and turning down an invitation, how to refuse, for example, an invitation. Is it the same in Iraq? Developing socio-cultural competency means being able to adapt the use of English to the ways people in any culture interact. For example, if an Egyptian were living in Toronto, then he or she would need to adapt the socio-cultural rules, okay, for using English in Toronto. The same. Like, for example, we say there is a proverb which says, when in Rome, do as Romans do. When in Rome, do as Romans do. When in Iraq, do as Iraqis do. However, if this same person moves to Tokyo, the socio-cultural rules when using English change, of course. When this person moves to Iraq, of course, change. Socio-cultural competency becomes most interesting when people from different cultures, such as from Taiwan, Korea, Thailand, interact in a context outside and of their own native cultures, as in rural western Pennsylvania, yes, etc. Finally, we said there are four. Finally, communicative competence includes strategic competency, or the ability to cope with the breakdowns in communication. Sometimes when speakers communicate, when speakers interact, when they talk, non-native speakers of a language, when they speak with each other, sometimes they have breakdown, problem in some contexts. For example, they forget some words. They don't know some words. For example, I'm talking with my friend and want to ask him about park, garage, but I forget the word park. So here in this way, what shall I do? Do I stop or what? No, I have to use what? Strategic competency. How? I have to use other words to refer to this word. For example, I tell him, I need a place to put my car. You see, in this way, instead of stopping, no, you can use this strategy. I want a place to put my car in. It means park. It means garage. Here. This is a breakdown in communication to problem solve. In unfamiliar contexts, when communication fails, and to draw on strategies that help restore communication. Example of strategies, I just gave you example, include knowing how to explain directions by drawing a map, knowing how to ask someone to repeat what she said in different words, paraphrasing, to check understanding, and being able to guess the meaning of words in print or speech from the context. You see here these four strategies. Number 2, question 2, how do EF or ESL teachers provide opportunities for students to communicate in English? It's very important. Some ESL classes are taught in a teacher-centered fashion. And we talk about this. We said that some classes, we have in these classes, we have what kind of teaching? We have the teacher who is the center of instruction, who leads everything inside the class, he is the only person who speaks inside the class. And we said that this is wrong, that the only one inside the class is the teacher who is speaking. Now, like me now, I'm only the one who is speaking. There should be there should be interaction. Not only the teacher. The teacher should be like Yushi and Kathy. We talk about Yushi and Kathy, that said, and Kathy is the center of attention rather than the center of instruction. But Yushi, no, is the center of instruction. بعض الطلاب قالوا أستاذ عيدنا إياها عندنا. فهذا الفرق بيناتهم، إنه يوشي وكاثي. يوشي هو ال center of instruction، هو teacher centered fashion. Recall Yushi, remember Yushi. Class interaction is dominated by the teacher. This is what Yushi, if you remember. For example, gives lengthy explanations and lectures, draws repetitively, asks the majority of the questions, and makes judgments about the students answers, okay. But Kathy, no. Kathy gives chance to students. She asks them some questions. She writes some questions on the whiteboard, asking them to interact, to speak English, okay, to share ideas between each other. But they have to use what? To use English, not their native language. She asks them to paraphrase, but Yoshi paraphrases. Yoshi paraphrases, but she asks the students to paraphrase. You see here? This is the difference. The small, or the difference between Yoshi and Kati. Short or in brief. Yes. However, to provide chances for students to gain communicative competence, other EF or EFL, ESL teachers see value in getting students involved. This is what Kathy does. Involve you students. You have to involve in interaction in English. Okay, you have to involve. لازم أنت you involve. You have to involve. To be involved in interacting in English. You have to speak. The teacher should be only guide. He has to guide the students, the class, giving roles for students to communicate between each other. Okay, and then the teacher just comments and gives his opinion. The students should lead the class. But unfortunately, here in Iraq, only the teachers inside the class are explaining everything. Okay, you can see them explain everything inside the class. Every thing inside the class, and this is something wrong. Okay, this is something wrong, that only the teachers inside the class explaining everything. This is subject plus verb plus object. This is in question. This is in negative. This example. They write the examples. We use present continuous for this. This is are, am, ing. Okay, if they give everything, and this is totally wrong. So what about the students? We should give students chance, because they have mind. They know how to communicate. They know how to activate the cells of their brain. Okay, so this is the right thing we have to do. But unfortunately, we don't do it because of the system in Iraq, because of the students in Iraq and the system in Iraq. The students, if we try to make things go well, they always know this. We don't want this way. This way, it's very difficult, etc., etc. I want to eat something. Yes. So here, in teaching an intersection, so we will have what? A framework provided by Littlewood. Littlewood is name of person. اسم شخص هذا. مو اسمه شوية حطب. Littlewood اسم شخص. Name of person. His name is Littlewood. Okay. شلونك واحد مثل اسمه سونك يعني أغنية. شلون احنا عندنا اسم واحد اسمه أمير. مو برنس. مثلا أو سعيد يعني happy. Yes. So Littlewood, please. It is name of person. I discuss how this can be done. Yes. Some teachers who aim at having a communicative classroom begin lessons with what Littlewood calls pre-communicative activities. Then Littlewood, what he suggests some activities, some strategies that the teachers can use inside the class. Some of them they are called pre-communicative activities and communicative activities. So pre-communicative activities use primarily with beginning and intermediate level students. So those students who have beginning or intermediate level sorry, pre-communicative activities are good for them. Okay, so pre-communicative activities allow the teacher to isolate specific elements of knowledge or skill that compose communicative ability, giving students this is the importance, okay, of pre-communicative activities. Allow the teacher to isolate specific elements of knowledge, number one, or skill that compose communicative ability. Number two, giving students opportunity to practice them without having to fully engage in communicating meaning. Okay, these two things, they are important, I mean, for pre-communicative activities. Littlewood discusses two types. There are two types of pre-communicative activities. What are they? Structural and quasi-communicative. Structural and quasi-communicative. Structural activities focus on the grammar and lexeme or vocabulary of English, while quasi-communicative activities focus on how the language is used. You see here? both of them, not only on the structure. يعني نقول لهم مثلا هذا فاعل وفعل وخلاص. This is the structure. لكن نعطيهم بعد أنا channels اللي هو يسموه quasi communicative activities. How the language is used to communicate meaning. Quasi communicative activities are often in the form of dialogues, dialogues, or relatively simple activities in which students interact under highly controlled conditions. Yes, هنا عندنا illustrations and examples of these two types of pre-communicative activities in a beginning level. With the beginning level class 1, with the beginning level class I observed in Hungary are provided. The teacher's goal was to teach students how to ask about food, likes and dislikes. Okay, so the teacher first taught a grammatical item, the use of the auxiliary verb do when used in a yes/no question. This is structural activity. This is the type 1. For example, this is an example. She began by giving several examples such as this one. For example, you like to eat cake. So when a question قال do you like to eat cake? This is in what? In a question. This is structural. ولا beginner. هذا النوع الأول structural. دور راح النوع الثاني اللي هو quizzy communicative. She then lays students in a vocabulary building activity. Another structural. قال لهم إنه another structural اللي هي معنى نفس structural بها نوعين، بها grammar وبها vocabulary building words, in which you put large pictures of food item. خلى food item on the wall and mark them with the names of food items she had written in big bold letters on separate pieces of paper. She gave students chances to read the names of food items, say them aloud as a whole class, and copy names while drawing their own pictures on each item. In order to work up to communicative activity, the teacher gave students the sample pre-communicative activity handout below. Then the teacher held up a picture of each item. For example, of a piece of cake. And as she did this, she asked the whole class, do you like to eat cake? The students shouted yes or no, because they are beginner, depending on their own preferences. You see here, this is the example. Do you like to eat cake? Do you like to eat bananas? Do you like to eat fish? You see here. And here he put what? He put toilet paper for fun. Okay. There was a lot of laughter, ضحكوا, especially when she asked it, do you like to eat toilet paper? Yes. Now toilet paper is a bigger problem in Europe because of coronavirus. So this is just an example or an explanation of what Littlewood calls pre-communicative activities, right? The teacher then handed a dialogue, سواء dialogue that combined grammatical and vocabulary items, added a little new languages. Do you like cake? Yes, I do. Do you like bananas? Yes, very much. How about fish? شوف هنا نضاف. He adds or she adds. Do you like fish? I don't know, maybe. The teacher read the dialogue out loud, asked students to repeat it after her, and she asked students to practice in pairs. Next, the teacher did another quiz communicative activities by dividing students into pairs, and placing a set of pictures of different food items face down on their desks. The students took turns picking a picture from a pile and using the picture as a cue, asked each other about their likes and dislikes. The teacher included a few comical items, from comedy, such as a picture of soup, and a few of students made up their own comical items, such as a chicken ice cream. Yes, this is pre-communicative activities. So some teachers follow up pre-communicative activities with what little called communicative activities. To illustrate what communicative activities are and how they are used to follow pre-communicative activities, let's return to my observation on food items and preferences, and the structural and quasi-communicative activities, and reviewing basic letter writing formatting. The teacher asked the students to write short letters to students in one of her other classes. Although the teacher encouraged the students to ask about what food they like, she also encouraged them to express themselves freely. You see here? There are many other possible examples of pre-communicative and communicative activities teachers can have students do in classrooms. And I provide more examples in part 3. There are more examples in part 3 about pre-communicative activities. If you are teaching students beyond the basic level, basic level in the beginning, if the students are good beyond basic levels, it's okay to leave the pre-communicative activity. So it is according to the teacher. When the teacher teaches his students, he has to know their level, whether the level is beginner, or beginning here, intermediate, pre-intermediate, intermediate, advanced level, very important. So the students are at basic level. He has to follow this way, this method of teaching, by using what? By using pre-communicative activities. But if they are beyond basic level, so skip it. Don't waste time and effort, because the students are aware of these details. So go directly to what? Begin with communicative activities. Students, with this task, the students can begin, such as writing and producing their own play, giving oral and written representation on topics they research through interviewing and library research, and solving problems in small groups. As students work on these tasks, their attention will sometimes shift to language use. For example, they might ask the meaning of a word or how to express an idea, but the thrust of the lesson is for students to communicate with the teacher and each other in meaningful ways. So we finish with these two questions. Finished with this till page 68. If you have any question, if you have any comment, you can add your comment. It's very important to read about this, about littlehood suggestions, about teaching inside the classroom, about communicative competence. What do the teachers do inside the classroom? Which way they have to follow? Are they center of instructions, or the students, or or students the center of instructions. What is the difference here between Yoshi and Cat class? Okay, the same question here is repeated again and again. Yes, so if you have any questions, you can add. Thank you so much, and see you next time.